Earlier we talked about how we had our sys, and then that flowed into Clever, and that those flowed into MyBigCampus and into Mobile Manager. We kind of saw that workflow a little bit. What I want to talk about is how with the filter we can do things and we can empower our teachers through MyBigCampus. So there is a way to where inside MyBigCampus a teacher can create or ask for Mobile Manager to change the settings on a particular device, something like enabling or disabling the camera, or a single app mode, which right now is in Safari. And so then MyBigCampus can ask Mobile Manager to do something, and it sends it out to the device. So here we are back in MyBigCampus, and I'm going to navigate to some of my groups, and I have a handy dandy test group here. And this should look familiar, right? We're inside MyBigCampus, and inside this group, I, as the administrator, have options to adjust and ask the filter or ask Mobile Manager, the MDM, to do something. In this case, I'm going to go in here under Admin Options, and you'll notice I have Web Zones and Mobile Profiles. The one I'm going to look at first is Mobile Profiles. That was the example I gave, where in MyBigCampus a teacher can go to their group, which is already set up for them because it's all sys enabled, and create a mobile profile. In this case, I have one set up to activate a policy that is lock to Safari. If I go in here, I can add a Mobile Manager, and I have restrictions and app lock. So under restrictions, that's things like allow the use of the camera, allow Safari, different settings that I would want to change. What I have set up for testing purposes was lock to an application, and you see there's Safari. Soon there'll be more listed in there. I know that's a feature that they're working on. And then I can create this. So as a teacher, right in the middle of class, I can say, all right, I want everybody to be in Safari and doing something. And I hit play, and it gives me the option to have this expire in 5 minutes up to 3 hours. And I hit that, and I activate, and ta-da, all of the devices that are in my classroom are now locked into single app mode into Safari, because those students are members of this group, and this group is enabled in Mobile Manager, and through MyBigCampus, because of the integration, MyBigCampus asks Mobile Manager to send a profile all the way down to these devices, and voila, I have a classroom of devices that are now locked into Safari. Now what we're going to talk through is a similar workflow, right? But in this case, we're going to talk about how MyBigCampus can ask the filter to do something, and then through Mobile Manager affect the device. So in this case, I'm going to be in MyBigCampus, and in MyBigCampus we're going to ask the filter to create a web zone, which then can send information all the way down to the device. And so we can whitelist or blacklist or allow or disallow certain websites just because the filter knows what students are in my class and can send that information and set up that policy for those devices. If we take a look back at this same group, I can now go into Web Zones, and in here I have a web zone that's set return to normal, and what that particular one does is it sets everything back to the way it was. And that one I have in there is kind of a best practice for teachers if you're going to start using these, and one teacher in the class before you forgets to turn off the web zone before they send the students to you or set the duration too long, I can real quick hit return to normal, and it will instantaneously set those back. But here we go. I can create a web zone, and I'll call it Mike's Test, and I'll say create, and in that then I can go in, and I want to I want to block all URLs except for, let's just say, MyBigCampus. So then I can say save. And now what can happen is I could do a combination of these two. I can say, all right, I'm going to set a web zone of myBigCampus.com, and I'm going to set that for, you know, let's say 30 minutes. And then I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to go into my admin options, and I'm going to set a mobile profile that locks students into Safari for 30 minutes. And what I've done, effectively done there, is I now have all of the devices in my class set to only be able to use Safari and to only get to My Big Campus. Between those two things, I now know that if they turn on that device in my class for the next 30 minutes, the only thing that they're going to be able to do is go to My Big Campus. That's it. And that's all because of the integration that I have between all of these different systems. The SIS sends my students' information to Clever, which then fills their membership in My Big Campus. And then in My Big Campus, I'm able to ask Mobile Manager and the filter to do different things to the specific devices that are just in my class. And it's kind of the full circle from the SIS all the way through down to the device. There's a lot happening in the background, but for the teacher, all they know is they go into My Big Campus and are able to do things on their iPads. It's a very powerful and useful tool, and my goal with getting all of this stuff working and training our teachers to do this is really to help them become orchestrators of their classes. And I want them to, as a conductor would stand in front of an orchestra and conduct the music, I want our teachers to be those orchestrators and conductors of the learning in their classroom, and getting some of this technology out of the way so that they don't have to be the ones going in and setting it up, and they don't have to be the ones who understand what a MDM and a filter are for and what they do, but they can affect those things through an interface that they understand. That's really powerful and a great way to help move our classrooms into that next century learning, where they're able to move forward and really orchestrate learning rather than be the sage on the stage who is just up there lecturing. So my goal in sharing all this was to kind of give you if you're a teacher or an administrator, kind of a behind the scenes look at how we can leverage the technology to get some of it out of the way and allow the learning to really take place in the classrooms. I hope you were inspired and able to maybe get some ideas of how things might work for you guys.